I know you're as happy as I am that spring is finally here and we can stop nursing those seedlings we've babied from seeds. But part of gardening is thinking ahead. I realize that one of the main challenges you're going to face once the plants are in the ground is pests. Fighting the little critters off, believe it or not, begins with how you plant. What you plant with each seedling is important because one of the main concepts of permaculture is that nature thrives with diversity. Go to any forest and you will see all kinds of plants next to each other. So let's begin with one of the first ways to ward off pests. Healthy soil. The more microbe activity you have in your soil, the more healthy your plants will be. Not everything you plant will make it, but the healthier your plants, the better they can fight off attacks by pests. I like to use homemade compost and leaf mulch to enrich the soil and encourage microbe growth. This does not mean you won't have pests, but that the microbes will help to keep natural pests in check because they help create organisms that prevent infection. Next, use companion planting to your benefit. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll quickly realize that I use a lot of peas and beans as natural nitrogen fixers. In the same way, some plants make it harder for pests to find your desired crop, or will attract good predators that will give your crop time to grow. Tomatoes with basil is a great example. Basil not only cuts down on tomato pests, but also improves the flavor and growth of tomatoes. Last year, I grew tons of tomatoes and only had one tomato worm, whose life was tragically cut short once I found it. The same goes for planting onions with strawberries against slugs, or here where I've planted garlic with kale. The strong smell makes it harder for pests to find the kale. The same goes for using onions with kohlrabi to make it more difficult for the cabbage bug to take hold. Again, it doesn't mean you won't have them, but it helps to keep the numbers down. And then on to plants that repel pests. Nasturtiums are edible garden flowers that also act as a repellent against aphids, cabbage worms, cucumber beetles, and squash bugs. And while they're making your garden beautiful, they also attract beneficial pollinators and good bugs that will take care of the bad bugs for you. Alysiums act in the same manner, as their wonderful smell repels aphids and spider mites. They are a beautiful sight for the eye addition to your vegetable garden, while performing the hard work of scaring off pests. And let's also not forget the great job done by marigolds in repelling pests and sunflowers in attracting pollinators. A good number of herbs like thyme, parsley, and especially sage perform a similar function in repelling a host of pests. So adding them throughout your garden makes a lot of sense. You get the added benefit of the herbs you want and decrease the pests you don't. I hope I've given you a lot to think about as you're planning out your vegetables this spring. Work in some of the methods and plants I've mentioned to help you think beyond just getting them in the ground and a little more about what happens when they come up. Your veggies will reward you tenfold for the soil fixers, pollinator attractors, and pest repellers that will help them give you the harvest you've worked so hard to get. See you next time.